Stupid FL Studio tricks. Um, this is just gonna be random things that you don't usually find in a tutorial because they're too random. They're just edge cases. Um, yeah, so we're gonna start with the interface here. I guess I'll put things back how they start. Usually that's over there, and you have a different menu. The default is called default. So yeah, that looks a little bit more like what you're used to. We'll even have the empty. Wait, what's the template? Basic club basic limiter or something. You got a limiter on your master channel, which you learn to take off. You got kick, clap, hat, snare. Um, all this 2-row stuff, which it's nice. It's got a lot of buttons. I'm not really into all that. So usually the first thing I do is edit the toolbar to just have the stuff I need. Something like that. Um, and then the browser. I don't really like that shift that happens where it moves everything over. So I put the browser right over the browser button. So I can just close it, click the same spot to get it back. Yeah. So there's that. That's just trying to make it so people aren't too confused by the way I've got it set up. But now we'll go on to actual stuff here. So in the browser, when you're clicking on stuff, it can be a bit loud. So over in your audio settings, under mixer, you got the, usually these are just set to the 2 lines, but you can choose a track for your browser preview and a track for your metronome. So what that means that you can have something like a limiter or a soft clipper on your browser. And so we'll make a template here with that set up for it. We'll start from an empty. So this empty has nothing routed. It's so you can use your arrow keys to scroll around. Click on the first track. Use the arrows to go back. Now you're at the very end. So 124 and 125, I'm going to double click and drag across them. And right click dock to the right. The first one, 124, that's the metronome. So you hit F2 a couple times for random colors if you want. I'm going to call this one metronome. And 125, I'll call that browser. Okay. So for metronome, I think I'll throw a soft clipper on there and turn it way down. So here's the metronome uh, without. And then with. Quiet. Just enough to hear. Okay. So yeah, in case you didn't know, you can change your right click the metronome button and have a different sound. So we got the metronome. Now let's do the browser. I'm going to put a fruity limiter and just turn the ceiling down like halfway-ish. So going through a folder full of like snares, you can see the volume doesn't come up quite so high. Here it is without. Okay, those aren't too loud, but it's a little nicer with it. Just in case you find that one sample that's just incredibly excruciatingly loud. Okay, so this is a pretty good little template here. Here's a cool trick though. Next to the master, you have one called C. C is for current. And that's just going to be like any effects that you put on there float around to apply to whatever you have selected. So Not really stuff you want for things that affect the sound, but for like an analysis or a spectrum. I'm going to put a wave candy on here and choose one of my presets. So like double click it. Now it's just this little tiny thing. You can put that down in the corner and it just hides. And so whatever track I have selected, I'll see a little bit of the spectrogram. And yeah, okay. So now for a little bit of mixer routing stuff. We're going to go ahead and get the FPC open to show some of the logic here, what's going on. Fruity Pattern Controller. So if you go through their default presets, like the multi stuff, you'll kind of find there's a pattern on the outputs. So like, here's the kick. The output is nothing. Here's the snare. Output is 1. Here's the hi-hat. Output is 2. Toms, 4. Splashes and crashes, 3. So that's the metal kit. Let's try one more. How about the 808 multi-out? The toms are on 4. Cymbals are on 3. Hats are on 2. Snares on 1. Kick, no offset. So that's a pretty good starting point for having your drums laid out. And now I'm going to get rid of this FPC here and show a little way to get colored mixer tracks with like a gradient if you like that kind of stuff. Sampler, we'll just use this to put the names. We can do color gradients over here in the channel rack and then just auto map it into the mixer and then delete the samplers. So I'll clone that a couple times. It's also, you can just click these little selectors and hit Alt-C. So that's 4. That's 8 things. That should be enough for now. Okay. Middle click. Get to your rename box on the generator button. So kick, snare, hat. And what was our next one? Usually we had cymbals for the next. And then percussion, like the toms and stuff. Maybe have some extra stuff that you tend to do, like I have loop and a sidechain channel. Just call it side. And then the drum bus. Call it drums. And then just click across all of these. Go over to gradient. Where is this? I'm lost. Color selected. Okay, gradient. Choose our first. I'm gonna choose red. No, pinkish red. And then, oops, what was that? Control Shift C is just random. You could just do that. Alt Shift C was gradient. Okay. Whoops. And then click the last thing. How about a purple? Okay. And then for the side, I want to like mark that so that it's like visually different. It's lighter. Okay. So now with all those selected, just click and drag across all of them. Click your first mixer track, Control Shift L. Now we've got colors in the mixer. And we'll get rid of all these. Alt delete. So double click, drag across, kick, snare, all those. And then right click, route to this track only. Now the drum bus is set up, except for I might route kick and snare also to side. Route to this track, not only. And then side, make sure to unhook it from the master. So It's not going anywhere. And I'm not going to bother with doing effects on stuff. That's not the point. We just kind of want to have some stuff set up, fleshed out. So maybe like a reverb or two would be, helpful. Set up some sends. I'm gonna have just a hall reverb, so that if I'm just making stuff with the piano, like to just tinker around, I don't have to add that. Let's see. How about a nice reverb here? Concert hall. I'll call this hall. F2, 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 F2. Till I like the color. Yeah, that's too close to the drum colors. There we There we go. All right. So, if it's a send, don't forget you want full mix, 100% on your stuff, because yeah, that's what sends do. So I'll save this as a template, and then I've got my, I'll have it all set up with the metronome and the browser and the colors for the drums and the reverb set up and yada yada yada. Save as template. I'll call this blank one. Okay. Now let's give it another go. Let's get FL Studio open and do something like something with automation. What should I automate? How about 3x os or piano? Or yeah, how about a 3x os? Okay, so gonna make like a thumpy bass sound here. We'll I'm not gonna automate all this stuff, but I want my volume to be like something like this. Sort of slow, yeah. And pitch, I'm gonna turn the pitch all the way up. Attack down, hold down, sustain down, release down, decay almost all the way down. Use this tension knob to make it just like a real quick drop off in pitch. And let's go pitch this down. So there's like a quick sine wave sub for you. We'll make this as a you could save channel state, and that'll keep more of this other stuff. So save channel state as quick sub, I guess. And now what should I automate? I guess I'll just like automate the yeah, it's just something you can hear. So everybody knows about automation clips, right? Okay, so like let's say I've got this little thing going in the piano roll playlist, whatever. When you click make automation clip, you might notice, okay, so if I have nothing selected, that's the same as having everything selected. So when I go here and right click this knob, create automation clip, it's going to be the whole length of the song with nothing selected. If that's not what you want, then you just choose the area you want. Just drag in the time, control drag. Choose the area you want. And now make automation clip uses that spot. See? Made a short little automation clip. That way you don't have to worry about the time. later. Just, you know, plan it out. So automation clips are nice for that kind of stuff. You got a handy little thing in the piano roll that you can use. I wasn't expecting that to sound good or anything, so don't worry. But there's another kind of automation, and that one is, it lives in a pattern, so it could be the same pattern or a different pattern. I'm gonna make a new pattern. We'll call this automate something. It might be better to give it a more descriptive name, but so we'll put this pattern here, and same parameter. We can do multiple things with different things. So edit events opens your event editor. It's kind of similar to the piano roll. It's just for events, and if you press Control I, you get the value you have set. So that's where it was. Pencil and magnet, pretty helpful to have, like if you want to do a whole bar at a time. It doesn't care where you're clicking. And if you accidentally make an event that spills over to the next bar, just select the time and delete, so that it is like that. So these are handy. This type of thing is handy for like a parameter that you want to set to a specific value, and just like some parameters are not really things you blend between, like they're just discrete values. So like I could make we'll call this ARP mode. We'll put something here. Right click, edit events. Hey, why are you there? Control D, Control I. Oh, yeah. Arpeggio direction. So then I can make another one. Another one. And we'll go edit events. Whoops. Edit events. Choose, let's see, this one's going to be up. Control I. So it's not going to do much with one note. So I'll give it 2 notes. So when you got these little zero length notes that don't change size when you zoom in, that's just a note on event with no corresponding note off. If you have your magnet set to something besides none, then Shift D will discard the length and just set it to whatever you got for your magnet. So now I've got a whole note here, and I'll give it a chord. Of course, that's not going to sound very much different from each other if they're both just that. So this one is up, and this one is down. I guess you can tell the difference between those two sounds. We'll make another one that's the up, down, up, down. Right click, edit events. Oops, it was already open. So click that. Make sure you're here. Control I. Oh, well, we need three notes in our chord if we want to hear. Okay, I'll try not to get too absorbed in what I'm doing. Okay, so next let's group all these. Now we've got our art mode is just one big pattern. And we can even, what do you do here? What can you do? You can, well, you could save that automation. How do we convert it to, I forget. Is it possible? No, I guess not. I thought there was a way to turn this into an automation clip, but I might be wrong. Turn into automation clip. Okay, cool. So now we've got this automation clip and we'll accept it. So it's like what we had before, except for it's changed from an edit events to a automation clip. So that's 2 kinds of automation down, and I'm gonna go ahead and do some more. We'll keep working with this silly sound we've made. Let's see if I can clean this up. If I'll repeat that what I just did. So this, if I turn this into automation, then they're all 3. Oh, great. Yeah, that's fine. I can group them. No, different clip types can't merge. Is it because that's in there? Now, group. Now you can merge. As long as it's just one clip type, you can merge them. So there, okay, so what else are we gonna do? What else? Let's do the envelope controller and the keyboard controller. Back over in the patterns, the stuff. So we're gonna add a controller, Fruity envelope controller. And it's like you got your LFO or your envelope or these other ones that may also be useful. Let's just do the envelope for now. Got some presets. How about a short burst? In this we trigger like you trigger the little bursts. And what should we link the controller to here? How about the volume? Like we'll put the 3 exhaust here and we'll use a balance and we'll link the volume here. Link to controller. Our envelope controller, we've got 8 different articulators. Let's just focus on articulator 1 for now. So we can watch this knob, and we actually need to put our triggers in here. Where is this? Oh no, automate something needs to be, let's just get rid of that. Let's get rid of all these. I just want the pattern. All right, new pattern. Just roll your wheel up on the channel rack is what I do sometimes. Click, click, click. Let's see what that sounds like. So there's our triggers. Well, that's no good. What if I wanted it to go the opposite way? By default, your envelope is bipolar. Like the middle is, yeah. So usually for a lot of parameters, you want to turn it to unipolar. So it just shows the X there instead of that one. But you want to turn your bass down. Now we basically have the same thing we had before. Or you turn your bass all the way up and the envelope all the way down. Okay, so we got our like keyboard controller left. Let's add that keyboard controller. Now this one's a bit weird and it's for certain types of parameters more than others. I use it for those things where, like, let's say you have a menu. I mean, for example, let me think of something with a built-in. I'll add the, let's have an FL keys. God, I'm not crazy about the sound, but we can deal with it. I'm going to put a filter on it because it's a little harsh. Pretty free filter. You got to go dig on your plugins, your more plugins. It's in there. It's just not enabled by default, but so pretty free filter for when you just want a quick low pass. And let's give it a chord. Oh, whoops. It's in the yeah, so I'll just, this is a great time to do split by channel. And now, hey, oh, didn't do it. That's weird. Why wouldn't it split by channel like I wanted? But anyway, I'll just go to a new pattern, paste it. So here's our chord. And we want to make different, kind of like the same thing we did with those arpeggiator stuff. As an example, and here's a menu with a lot of different things, and you can tell it's not really like something you'd blend. Like, it doesn't make any sense to just blend between these values. They're just, each is their own little thing. So I can right click this, link to controller, choose that keyboard controller's note, and use the keyboard controller to control what how we arpeggiate. And really, it doesn't make sense to have a chord there if we're going to do it this way. So here's our note. Turn the arpeggiator on. And then, so for this keyboard controller, what you got to do is count the number of places that you're trying to control. So this menu, went ahead and counted beforehand. So this is 91 things. So what we need is 91 keys in our range on the controller. And with a little quick math, I got the keyboard out, the calculator out, and it was like, I'll show you, kind of demonstrate. 12 plus 12 equals, every time I hit the equal sign, I'll count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I do it again, I'll go over 91. So I know that it's 7 octaves plus a few. So from 0, here on the keyboard controller, you double click and drag. 1 octave, 2 octave, 3 octave, 4 octave, 5 octave, 6 octave, 7 octaves at B, B6. So 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91 things. So from C0 to F sharp 7, and then I just click auto map white and black. So now we should be able to we'll look at this menu here. We'll get our keyboard controller in a pattern of its own. Kurtle. There we go. And way down here at the very bottom, oops, keyboard controller. There we go. Okay, so watch the menu. If you really want to be, super careful and double check everything, you make a scale that goes up the number of notes. I'm not gonna do that here, but like, let's say sustain doesn't do anything. You just want to make sure that it changes every time, like to double check your work. So you'd make, in this case, 91 notes ascending chromatically, and play it and just watch and make sure it changes every time. And then assuming there's 91 things or however many. Now sometimes the auto map doesn't always cut it. So what you would do is copy and paste your values. But we won't have to do that here. I'm basically sure this one works. But so I want to pick like some random spots here. We're just going to end up with some strange chords. So if these notes were all the roots of our chord progression, will be like what? Wait, what if it was just major and minor? Major. There's major. Here's minor. So we'll just do major, minor, major, major. So that's one way to do the keyboard automation. Let's do one more thing just to kind of show, because automation still, we really haven't covered everything because there's multiple links, and I don't know what you would call the other multiple. Like you can have multiple in and multiple out. Like you're controlling multiple things with one control, or one control can be controlled by multiple things. I'm not sure that's making sense. So what would I do here? Let's just duplicate this keys to yeah, we'll have one that's not doing the arpeggio at all. So I'll just make another piano, another FL keys. Send it to the next track over. Hey. Oh, that's, yeah. Well, here we go. We'll just use that and call that the FL keys mix. This one, and I need this one selected so that it goes there. So FL keys 2, they both go route to this track only. And then maybe this track will get the hall reverb. And I want that filter again. Filter, free filter, low pass. Hey. What are you not filtering for? Too much Q? Oh, because it's still linked to the old thing. Right. This one goes here, this one goes there. Oh, for God's sake, what did I mess up? $13, $14, $13. Oh, I just didn't put notes in anywhere yet. Okay. So here's our notes. I'm going to put them in copy, paste. pretend that this sounds good, and what we want to do is choose like a crossfader, like a DJ fader between these two things. Like we'll have a note that's one and then a note that's the other. So I'm going to make a keyboard controller. And I'm just going to have two notes. It's going to be like B and C. And auto map, it's kind of silly to do it here, but anyway. Auto map white and black, so that's 0% on one note and 100% on the other note. And so these guys here, I'm going to use the, I guess I'll just use the fader, although I usually use this, the send mix knob. But, eeny meeny, fader is more visible, so we're going to do the fader. So link to controller on one of them. Notice I have remove conflicts unchecked. Like your first link, you probably want it checked, just in case. So I'm going to choose the keyboard controller 2 and accept. And same for the next one. Link to controller. When I choose the controller, it turns red. That lets me know I already have one done. I'm going to uncheck it. So now they're both, see, fully up or fully down. But I only want, really only want partly. So for this, I might turn this down to there. So now it's like not all the way up. But the other thing is one of them is going to be inverted. So let's make it so that when we're on C, the second one's all the way up and the first one's all the way down. So we'll click the first one and invert it. So right click, go to the controller link and just choose inverted. Okay. So now it is, unfortunately, the inverted value is the inversion of 0, which is 100%. So too bad. Still gonna go with it. So we'll just use our notes here. Put a C5 and then a B, and then maybe change the magnet to be like, hold shift if you just want to, you know, do. Okay, so that's probably a little bit ridiculous, I know, but it can be useful in some situations. I'm just throwing out the randomest shit I can think of. I think I need to start with a new, let's start with our new empty again. And wait. Ooh, wrong empty. I didn't save my colored empty. I only have metronome and browser set up. Oh well, I'll go to the one I use anyway. Metronome 2. Okay. So for random stuff, I'm kind of like drawing a blank right now. We did the 4 types of automation aside from all the other crap. Yeah, it's probably good. Let's see. I don't need to do too much overkill. All right, well, let's just go back into random stuff here. General settings. Check offline help after you've installed the manual. Like you go to the manual and under, you go to the very bottom, and somewhere under, where is it? Offline help installation. You go back to the top. It shows you the address you need to copy and paste, so just copy that, paste. Now you have your offline help installer, and you just pick. Well, okay, if you're online, you could have just done that at the page I was at before. But so you download the installer, and once you have that installed, then you just check the use offline help, and you don't need to be online for your manual, which is nice. It's a little quicker if you have slow internet too. See? Yeah. Okay, so what else do we got? Project stuff. PPQ. That's how far you can zoom in. If you find yourself really wanting to edit things at like a sample by sample level in the playlist, for example, you might turn your PPQ up. You can go all the way up to insanely, like 960 is going to be basically thrashing your CPU, but it also lets you move things like basically in the same amount of space as one sample takes up. So at your highest sampling rate. So it may be useful. When I'm working with MIDI plugins, I usually turn the PPQ up. Haven't really got to that part yet. So, okay, maybe you've noticed burn MIDI. And so let's make something I would burn the MIDI from. So here's an FL keys. Here's that, here's a chord. Let's have a key change here. Okay. I'm just throwing shit out as fast as I can here. So we've got our, we're going to turn the arpeggiator on. Hey, Control G. I don't need Alt. So you can right click, burn MIDI, new pattern, and you end up with the output of your arpeggiator. But if you're controlling that arpeggiator with all the crazy stuff I was just doing, it's not going to work so well. So you actually want to record the MIDI. You want to send it out and then have something to record it into. And to do that, you need a loop back. So I use loop MIDI. It looks like this. You just make a port, at least one, and you go into your MIDI, and you've got your input and your output. So if I send to port 0, that's the output. It goes out to loop MIDI, and then comes back on whatever port I have set for the input. I've got that set to port 10. So 0 comes back on 10. And so if I have, say, I'm going to make a patcher do this. I'll show you. Like, sometimes it works better this way. I don't know why. So you right click your 2FL Studio inside of Patcher, go to Events, turn on MIDI port, whichever one you want, and then just directly route that to from there. So any notes that go into this Patcher, go to port 0. Patcher doesn't have a MIDI port tab page, so this is how you do it. So I'm going to copy these notes, put them in Patcher, and then I'll have a blank pattern to receive it. I'll just make a sampler. Doesn't need to make any sound. In the sampler, you right click receive notes from and choose your loop MIDI port. So if I click play, record, I'm going to put it in the playlist and we'll do like 2 bars of it. And here's a blank pattern to record into. So the playlist, click record. Make sure you're doing notes, of course. And oh, I've got the wait. Not hearing anything. That's okay. Forgot to. What did I forget to do? What did I forget? What did I forget? Oh, I'm in pattern mode. Okay, so we'll do it again. Do. All right. So there's what we got out of Patcher to Loop MIDI back into FL Studio. You can see that this goes over a little bit, so might click quarter notes and quantize that so that the pattern's the right length. And just to be clear, that was Patcher sending those notes, not FL. That was just, I mean, FL keys. The this part wasn't important, so I could have just gotten rid of that. Do it one more time to show it's not FL keys sending that. Okay, that's enough. So you can see your alternative to burn MIDI is to have a loop back, send it out on a port, record it back with the received notes, and then I usually unlock that when I'm done, just because you know, I don't like the icon. I don't know. So yeah, so more esoteric, stupid stuff. Well, this is a question that gets asked like at least once a week on the FL subreddit. How do you get rid of the thing? But like, let's pretend we want to use the thing. You know what's coming. So here's a drum loop. We're gonna set it to our tempo. Oh, it's already set. So let me get rid of all this. Delete all that. Delete all that. Delete. Trigger the drum loop right there. And let's consolidate this track. Okay. So now we have this sample stretched to our tempo and so I want to put it in the, I'm hit F7, drag this over here. I don't want that anymore. I just want the go back. See this? Now I have little places I could put like if I was in say FPC, for example, with, yeah, we'll just use the default kit. So go to FPC, kick. I probably should have left that where I could hear what's going on, but too bad I didn't. No, there it is. Okay. So it sounds like we got a tell if there's a ride happening there, but maybe. Where's our snare? Where's our snare? Oh, toms. Do. Alt drag to get off the grid a little bit here. And yeah, it's not going to sound like exactly the same, but we'll just mute this. And when you're done, you press Alt in the piano roll. Alt in. It makes the waveform go away. So that's what that thing is for, if you've ever done it by accident. Now you can do it on purpose. Okay, more random stuff. I really feel like I should keep going. Even though I've been out of ideas for the last 20 minutes here. Odds and ends. Hey, I know. We'll make a new, let's do, go to a new empty. And, yeah, I don't care. And we'll go to the piano roll and we'll use step editing mode because that's kind of weird, right? So you got your piano typing keyboard to piano keyboard button, and that turns on and off with Control T if you're in the channel rack or you've clicked on the background. If you're in the piano roll or the playlist or other places, Control T does something else. So like if I'm in the playlist and I hit Control T, it turns on and off the time markers thing. And pretty much the same over here. Turns on and off this time. So, you know, what you want to do is click on the background, Control T if you want to turn it on and off. See that flashing button there? That's the one. Right click it and you've got root note, octave, layout. Like the layout for FPC is going to match ZXCV with the bottom row of drums and basically each bank all the way up 1, 2, 3, 4 for the first bank, top row, etc. So it's pretty handy. You set it to octave 4, choose that. You can do your FPC with your keyboard. Default is piano. We've also got chords, and if you really want to get in depth, you can add your own. I've got a couple on this menu that I've made. So we're just going to do the minor natural chord map here because that's fun. Let's have the old FL keys, I guess. With, as usual, me and my freaking free filter because I just don't want to hear the high end, and we'll have some reverb just to make the piano sound nice. How about an Aural River piano hall? Weird. Oh, that's the cue. Okay. already. So in your piano roll, which is F7, you can have if you have your typing keyboard on, then you can see what you've done and you can draw it in, or you can choose Control E, which as far as I know doesn't care where. Oh, Control E in the mixer opens an audio editor, and that's going to happen on, I guess, whatever track you've got selected. So whoops, Control E wasn't what I wanted there, but just to show, sometimes it matters where your focus is, what the keyboard shortcut does. So with Control E on, you've got this. And your number pad has slash and asterisk to go backwards and forwards. If you go backwards over something and you have, so I'll show you, let's just delete all this and start over. Control A, delete, Control D. This little arrow is where the notes are going to happen. So, hey. And those are coming out according to my magnet size. So if I want to do whole notes, go back. And you'll see it deleted the other stuff I have there. And that's because blend is off. Control B for blend. Oops, Control B is also duplicate your bar. So, you know, you got to keep paying attention to where you're at. So if I have blend on and I enter some notes in step editor mode, and then I back up over them, it didn't delete what I had before because blend is on. So, oh, that's going to sound terrible. Delete. Home puts your triangle back at the very beginning in case you're ever, it's a good habit, you know. Control, after you make a selection, when you're done, Control D, home, it's a good habit. So I'm going to turn this on and show how to do longer than whatever your magnet says. You push the button, and when you release it, it types the note. It's actually happening when I release, not when I press it. So if I use the asterisk while it's held down, it makes it that long. And then we'll go back and yep. So there's your step editor. It's pretty handy for some things. I mean, I don't use it all the time, but occasionally I just want to do things that way. Let's see. So, recording, automation, and we did the turn things into an automation clip thing. We did the okay, browser. Nobody ever mentions this one, or they do, but they don't mention it enough. Configure extra folders. If you haven't done this in your browser, you should do it right now because that's important. Like your sample library, once it's hooked up, if you open up FL after you've had an old project that you haven't worked on in a while, it will know where to look and it will find the samples that are missing. Now that's not so much of a problem now that we have project folders, but for old projects especially, it's helpful to have your browser hooked up. other things you can do in the browser that are important. The project thing, like let me add something that I know. For example, so here's a MIDI plugin that I can't. I can automate some of these parameters, but right clicking doesn't get me a menu. Um, or for example, an effect like Valhalla. Right clicking these knobs does not get me what I don't get that menu that I'm used to. So you either you turn the knob and then you go up and multi-link to controllers knob if you have it on your toolbar, that is. Um, the last thing you tweaked will be on the right click menu. So like that's one way to get there. But if you don't want to tweak the value, you just want to see it, it's going to be over in your project, current project, generators or effects. So like generators, if I expand tone space, I've got all these parameters that I was trying to get to. And you set it and you can do edit events, control I, or you can do link to controller. I don't have any controllers to link to, but yeah. So the browser is the place to go for your parameters that you can't get by a right click menu, and it's almost like a good habit to just do it anyway. I mean, it's handy for the ones you can right click, of course, but I just habitually go to the browser now. So let's have I'll just make a quick controller here. If I go to this envelope controller, wait, how about my effects? Here's my Supermassive. I'll right click something and say link to controller. Choose the envelope articulator. Now, that's on the list at the bottom here. Everything that's been linked is under remote control. So if I click it, I get back to this. Pretty handy. If you're not quite sure what you've got linked in a project, just go there. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna finish off with plugin presets. So we'll make what did we have? We had I have an FL Keys here, I guess. Or some weird synth like here. How about a Vital just for fun? All right, so you like a preset, you can put it in your favorites. But if you really like it, you can just select it, go save preset, name it the same thing. And if you like the color, go ahead and color it first. Like we'll just make this red and we'll give it an icon. If you right click, if you middle click in this area, it goes straight to icon. So I'm choosing 8. Okay. So save preset as. Now I have a Vital preset. I'm going to call this whatever it was, bass sub 808. Enter. Now we'll go and make a new project here. And if I have Vital inserted, that's on the right click list over here. So you got your internal presets, which you use preset browser that's provided by the VST, or you've got your external presets. So when I choose that, I get the color and the icon and the name. And if you want to take it one step further, you go over to your browser, to plugins, plugin database, right click, open. So let's go to generators. Oops, not the database. I'm sorry. Plugin presets. We're going to go find our generator, Vital. Here's our thing. Now I'm going to cut it or copy it and go back to the presets. I mean, FL Studio's database. So we'll go find the generators. And if I just really wanted that one all the time, I can put it right here on the top of the list, for example. And so we'll pretend we're in a new project here. Right click, replace. There it is. Just right off the menu. We didn't even have to go do this menu here. Just picked it straight off the menu. So that's like, for stuff you use a lot. Like I tend to use like I open up labs and then choose soft piano enough that I was like, wait, just make soft piano be a preset. So I don't have to pick it off the list here. Helpful. Right then, so okay, so we got the plugin database. The same thing applies to effects. You go into your presets and you copy or paste, cut and paste into the database. You can sort your database however you want, and that's not going to hurt anything. Like we'll go look and I'll show you. You've got plugin database has effects, generators, and installed. Installed is like leave that alone. That's what FL Studio uses to know what is installed, I guess. But your effects and generators folder, you can go hog wild. Like you'll probably notice that I have a different folder structure than the default, sorted things, and it's pretty handy. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I'm not done. I'm not done. There's more random shit. So, what if you want an image reference and you don't want to just like set your background? You can the browser is a browser. You can just open an image with it. So I'll show here I am in a mixer channel. I'm going to choose the HTML notebook and then we'll browse. So it's kind of started me out in a weird spot, but I know where I'm going. Plugin presets, effects, HTML notebook. Just go down here and change HTML to all files so you can see whatever. So like maybe if you're transcribing music you want to have like this image. It's right there inside of FL Studio for looking at the treble clef and bass clef. Or and then I'll just save this as a preset because actually that was the point. Clef ref. Okay, so I can just choose that anytime I want. Clef ref. Or maybe I wanted that frequency chart thing. We'll do this one more time. Change HTML to all files. Note frequency chart. So now I got one of those dudes, which might be helpful, and I don't know. Like mixing frequencies. Your equalizer. You want to like hit a certain note. There you go. I don't know. Depending on what you want to have, what you want to reference. I think it's kind of cool to know that you can open a picture with your browser and even save it as a preset so it's there just whenever you need it. I added, what did I add? No, I didn't add anything. But yeah, I was transcribing some stuff and I don't really know how to read the staff, so I had to keep going back and forth between the browser. And I figured, hey, can you just open a picture with the HTML browser plugin? Yes, you can. Right. So what I forget? There's so many random, weird, silly little things. People always ask what's going on when they record stuff and it gets moved around. So like quantize, you might just want to turn off quantize on your recording button menu. Right click the record button and see what this is all set to, because it seems like people ask that question a lot. I just quantize stuff later if I want it quantized. I'd rather not start out with it quantized. Um, hmm, hmm, MIDI scores. Oh yeah, now they changed it so dragging a MIDI onto a blank opens a flex, and it actually wants you to save your project and start a new thing, which is kind of annoying. So just make sure that you drag it onto the spot. Drag your MIDI onto the thing instead of in between. See? If I drag it over here, it's going to do this. What? Oh, start new project. Don't just uncheck start new project. Hey, that's nice to notice. Dude. Makes a nice little group though for you. But it also does load up a flex. Is there a way to avoid this? Let me see. What if I don't want a flex? Create one channel per... Oh, channel type MIDI out. I'll just let it do a flex, but I like this one channel per track thing. Oh, you gotta uncheck the new project thing. Whoops. Right. Okay. Yeah, okay, so that's about it. I guess I'll finish. I'll just keep going and do until I run out. You can just like stop the video when you're bored. Um so your drum loops folder, like if you go onto the FL ImageLine forum, there's an FPC sub forum, and you can download these patterns, which are in FPC format. And then if you put them in the right place, then you can just pick them right from there. It's kind of cool. So where would that be? Let's go to the plugin. It's not the database, but that'll be close enough. Up one level, presets, plugin presets, generators, FPC. Oh, wait, no, sorry, not quite. I think it's FL Studio. I'm lost for a minute here. Where does the FPC stuff go? Wrong. Presets. It's not scores. It's not the database. Not the. Where is this? Where? Show in browser. It is. It is scores. But their scores. Where is this? Documents. FL Studio presets scores. No. That's not it. That's my MIDI folder. Where's the FPC MIDI folder? Find this. Oh, okay. It's in the actual program files one. So, program files, ImageLine, FL Studio 21, data, I think. Patch. Where was that again? I lost it. Open. That is data, patches, scores, FPC drum loops. Then you make a folder. Okay. And then you dump all your MIDI in there. So see if I can do this. Data, patches, scores, FPC drum loops, and then my user folder. And then this is where you dump the stuff that you download from the forum. And there's a bunch, somebody made a bunch of pretty weird stuff. But there's a lot of it, so, you know, knock yourself out. It's kind of nice to be able to just pick it off the menu. Okay, I'm done. I'm done. You're probably like way overloaded and not enjoying this, which I don't blame you, but I hope you learned something. Okay, fine. Come on, Hobbs. Go back to the... Where's Hobbs? There you go.